It's my opinion that VeChain have always, since inception, been a project that have had the capacity to provide real-world value. If there's one thing which I can safely say that I dislike about the crypto market, it's that there are by far more projects which are created not to try and provide a valuable service to customers and at the same time reward investors, but instead to make money by tricking credulous investors by selling the dream and then doing nothing to help that vision materialize. And by the way, this isn't the type of channel where I'll tell you that crypto is an easy way to get rich, because it isn't. And I'll say right here that if you're smart and you put in the effort and do the research, you're probably going to make money, and if you don't, you're probably going to lose money. It's my view that there are no free lunches in this world, and if these are the types of values that you hold as well, consider subscribing. VeChain operate in supply chain management, and their business model is primarily business to business. Their main target audience are organizations who could benefit financially in some way by gaining a competitive advantage on the competition by using blockchain technology to generate better data points. Now of course we are seeing a large-scale transfer of market share in the retail industry, from traditional bricks-and-mortar retail to online retail. But of course this isn't a new trend, it's been occurring since the early 1990s, and therefore most people have already considered this observation and baked it into their VeChain analysis. As an investor, if I want to beat the average, I have to have insights which not everybody has thought about. I have to consider things in such a way that I have a better understanding of VeChain's prospects than the average investor. As you all know, over the last year or so, the world has changed in a dramatic way. Consumer behavior has been radically altered, and people are doing things differently to the way they were in 2019. One huge change which I think that most crypto investors have missed is that supply chains have increased in size on average. Online sales have gone through the roof, while at the same time high street footfall has been heavily diminished, and one of the net results has been that the transportation of physical products have gone through the roof as well. At every step in the supply chain, people are opting for delivery as opposed to collection. Think about this. If I own, let's say, an independent bakery, instead of going to the wholesaler like I used to every week, I now get my suppliers to deliver to avoid unnecessary travel, and my customers, instead of coming in every day, made a repeat order for a dozen cakes every Friday or so on. And it's not just bakeries, believe it or not. It's supermarkets and building merchants and restaurants and furniture stores and pretty much any other type of business that you could think of. Now I'm not using any advanced math or economics, it's a simple case of following consumer demand, and then trying to figure out how businesses have responded and then determining who benefits and who loses. You see, this is how an investor gets ahead of the competition, by finding insights which others are overlooking, and sometimes that information will save us from making a bad investment, and sometimes it might lead us to believe that a certain project in question is actually more valuable than the market currently appraises it to be. In my opinion right now, many investors aren't thinking this far ahead. A lot of people are concerned about how the price changed today, but personally I'm not interested in today or even tomorrow, I'm interested in 5 years or 10 years, and for me this is probably a good thing. When I'm invested into a project, I really enjoy it when the price is falling, because the very fact that I'm invested at all means that I have looked at the fundamentals and see long-term potential. And so when the price falls in the short term, it's an opportunity to accumulate and nothing more. The recent situation has caused changes in business, which we have discussed in this video, but as I mentioned before, many people won't bother to take out the time to look, and I'm not saying that VeChain will definitely benefit in the long term from the changes listed earlier, but what I can say is that from where I'm standing the logic does check out. And you may be thinking that if VeChain are to do well over time, there's going to be a huge influx of competition into the space, and there probably will be. And actually, part of how well VeChain performs as an investment will be determined by how well they deal with a large influx of competition. And of course, the best way to deal with competition is to maintain a higher rate of innovation and let your value proposition do the talking. Plus, it's not easy to compete with a market leader in a high-tech and niche area like the space which VeChain operate in, because of course there are barriers to entry which are significant and hard to overcome. Let me give you a quick example. During the pandemic, the price of DIY building materials here in the UK went through the roof. Because a lot more people were staying at home instead of going out, and so everybody was taking the opportunity to remodel and catch up on all of the little repairs they'd been putting off. Now I was one of those people, and when I called up my local building yard and asked for a quote on some cement, the price was practically double what I'd expected because demand was so high. But that didn't mean that I decided to quit my day job and start making cement full time, because it requires experience and investment and time, and plus there's also a lot of risk to be considered. So while I do believe that VeChain, like every other business, will have to face competition, I also think that they have a healthy head start, and that to a large degree VeChain's long-term success will be influenced by how well they maintain and strengthen this advantage. Anyway, that's all for this video. If you enjoyed and would like to see more content like this, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.